This is February the 26th, 2019. And I'm going to do, I guess you may say, a Black History talk, just briefly. And the subject is the 13th and 14th Amendment was created for former black slaves. I repeat, the 13th and 14th Amendment was created for former black slaves. Now, this is a copy of the Constitution of the United States. And if you are an American citizen, you need to have one. Now, I haven't read out of this, and the reason is because it's written in lawyer language. Serious people. It's written in such a way that it's really hard to understand. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read to you the 13th Amendment. I'm not going to read the 14th Amendment because it's about 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. And like I say, it's written in lawyer language and it's really involved. Now, the 13th Amendment is only 2 paragraphs, a little short paragraph and 1 sentence. And this is what the 13th Amendment says. Section 1, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Now, I'm going to read to you what the internet says. I think it came from Wikipedia or History.com. They all say the same thing. 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime. In Congress, it was passed by the Senate on April 8, 1864, and by the House on January 31st, 1865. What was the original intent and purpose of the 14th Amendment? I'm reading the 14th Amendment now as well. The 14th Amendment was ratified to protect the rights of native-born black Americans whose rights as recently freed slaves were being denied. The amendment was written to prevent state governments from denying citizenship to blacks born in the United States. 13th Amendment was written to abolish slavery and involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime. The 14th Amendment was ratified to protect the rights of native-born blacks. Now, the 13th Amendment was passed in April 8, 1864 by the Senate and by the House on January 31st, 1865. All right. So, the reason I'm talking about this is because the LGBTQ, AEIOU, and sometimes Y group have used, especially the 14th Amendment, to tell people their rights are being denied if you do not acknowledge them as a protected class. They started this in the latter 80s. They did it all during the 90s. In the somewhere around about 2000, whatever else, they kept talking about it a little bit at a time. Then it disappeared. Most people didn't even notice. The 13th and 14th Amendment was not written for people who engage in sexual perversion. Now, let me leave that just for a few moments, because it's also used by another group now, illegal immigrants. They are also used because they are being taught by left-wing lawyers in America that if you are born in America, especially their children born in America, they are American citizens. It wasn't written for that. I mean, when the 13th and 14th Amendment was written, blacks from Africa had been in America for well over 200 years. Well over 200 years. And the South, especially the South, created all kind of laws after the Emancipation Proclamation came up and was passed. They came up with those Jim Crow laws. So people need to just read themselves, because I am amazed at how people can be brainwashed into believing a lie. Now, it wasn't specifically, the 13th and 14th Amendment wasn't specifically just written for black people. It was written for every person. But it was not written for people who engage in sexual immorality. And it was not written for people who come over here illegally without going through due process and claiming protected status. It was written for slaves, former slaves, black slaves in America, people. And let me see if I can read the first paragraph. Yeah, section 1. This is what they use. Article 14, section 1. All persons born are naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. Notice now, all persons born are naturalized. Excuse me. Born are naturalized. Illegal immigrants are not naturalized. They were born, their children, many of them are born in America, but they were not naturalized. They snuck over a fence or jumped over a fence or dug under a fence or a wall or whatever else and blended into our society. They are criminals. They are lawbreakers. You need to purchase a copy of this, people that read it. I'm serious, because it's amazing how people have been brainwashed to believe a lie. But you need to read and study yourself to find out the truth, because the left-wing media will bombard you with lies until the day you die. Study yourself to know and understand the truth. God bless.